What's going on, world? Coming at you guys again. We got another quick video. Was Nolan well spotted on the island after 4:30 p.m.? Let's talk about it. So I had the opportunity to come across a video by J Megan or Nerdy Pink Panda, and she did a real breakdown and deep dive into the reports taken by the police in comparison and correlation to the interviewee that Officer Tatum did, as well as the individuals named in the report. I believe it's a grandfather and an individual named Bart, and how there's inconsistencies within the GPS data. Some GPS data has been possibly, allegedly altered or deleted or is missing. And, the narration that allegedly there are witness accounts of people saying they saw Nolan Wales out on Horn Island after 4:30 p.m., after 6 p.m. or something like that. And, I really just want to give my perspective on it. Honestly, man, I've said this before. Witnesses are not evidence because people lie, people make up stories, people are wrong about what they see or they misinterpret what they see. The stereotype is all black people look alike. And as his friends have said, he wasn't the only black person out there. So, that's up in the air. So until we see photos or video of Nolan Wells, that is not a confirmed piece of evidence, right? Another situation is the statements made saying that there was a picture going around where you saw a leg on the outside of a boat where everybody believed that was Nolan Wales and he was dead, right? And then you hear the audio from Cito talking about Nolan get up, wake up, he's dead. Oh my God, we'll take care of it. A whole bunch of crazy stuff. They name somebody named Bart or something like that, and it's a whole conspiracy. It really is. I have yet to hear anybody disprove that audio. No official source to come out to say that this is not correct. This is tampered with. This is added to. So that's up in the air as well. And what the other discrepancy is, there's a picture going around with the boats where Bart is linking up with the other boat and helping them to give a tow. And everybody's saying Nolan's body isn't on the boat. This is where the video comes into play for the lady that I just talked about. I'll post her name at the bottom of this. I can't remember her name. But when she talked about how the GPS coordinates can be tracked, how they can be marked, how they can be deleted, that picture with that leg on the outside of the boat could have been Nolan Wells' leg, him dead. Them calling on the phone, talking about we have an issue, that and the audio behind it could be legit. They could have taken another photo after that taking place, after they got rid of Nolan Wells' body. Now, they say they go out there all the time, right? Who is to say that they did not wrap Nolan's body with a chain and anchor and drop it and set the coordinates? Who is to say that they didn't come back out there that night after they took the photos to showcase that Nolan was not on the boat, to show good promise that they had no interaction with Nolan at all whatsoever, and then came back out there? Because you can mark it in GPS location. They said it's 30 feet, 20 feet, 10 feet, whatever the case the situation is. It's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock. It's super dark. You're not going to see a body that is secure and is being weighed down in the water. Again, this is alleged, but this is a possibility. When you go look at this video and you hear what she's talking about, how you can manipulate the GPS data and how they transition from one point of the island to another point of the island, but there's no tracking in between those two locations from when they called the Cito company. And we have a photo out there where there's allegedly a leg that's, extending on the outside of the boat that looks like Nolan Wells. And then there's another photo showcasing that clearly Nolan Wells is not on the boat. Those pictures could have been taken right after one another. They could have taken Nolan Wells' body after they recognized that he was dead and weighed it down and anchored it down and put it in the water. And then continued the story. Like they said, they had about a half an hour to figure out what was going on. And the reality of the situation is, allegedly, they have some form of communication and relationships with very intelligent individuals who happen to be within the criminal justice system, who happen to be judges and doctors, and there's a possibility of other like lawyers, etc., etc. We don't know how deep this rabbit hole goes. You don't. But what we do know definitively with 100% certainty is that we live in a society historically where injustices have happened and things have gone, unaccounted for. And this is probably one of the reasons why Ben Crump allegedly correlated Nolan Wells to Emmitt Till, because the woman who lied allegedly about what happened, and then the people that unalived Emmitt Till in the most gruesome, immoral way fashion, there was a warrant issued for her arrest, and it was never facilitated. So, I don't believe that Ben Crump looked at this in a manner in which the gruesomeness of the death of Nolan Wells was comparable to Emmitt Till, but the cover-up, and the cover-up by individuals whom are responsible for, maintaining life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and, we are all equal, this is the issue, because now we're looking at the fact that, are we living in the middle of a conspiracy to where people will do anything and everything to make sure they cover their ass? So, I'm going to tag her information under, and you can go watch her video. And just keep in mind what I said, right? There's two photos. One photo of the boat with the leg out, which it could be Nolan Wells. And then another photo to where they're getting towed out and there's no more Nolan Wells in the photos. But again, it's very possible for them to have anchored Nolan's body and weighed it down and set a GPS location for it and came back later to get it. That's why Nolan Wells allegedly and likely wasn't being able to be found for a day or two, because the reality situation is, it's possible that he could have just been at the bottom of the water.